Dr. Ernesto Gerial, Jr., PUA President and Champ, my mentors, my colleagues, our residents, guests, friends, good afternoon. And before I commit a sin of omission, my many thanks to Jess, Miles, and Cora, who have been with me and the PUA these past 2 decades. And not to forget, our thanks to Flor and Vanessa. My colleagues, having been requested by Dr. Gerial to give an inspirational speech makes me ask about the word inspirational and its root word inspire. Essentially, it means something that arouses action or activity. It means motivation and encouragement. And for me, having been under the tutelage of my more senior past presidents and colleagues, I feel that this moment afforded me is a chance to spark anew that love and commitment to what the PA should be as we progress through our second half century of life. Having been the golden president in 2008 affords me this distinction of having seen the past and looking forward into the future. Let's talk about the birth of organizations, why they are born, who gives birth to them, and the ideals of its founders. Organizations are meant to create order and stability among its populace, creating and maintaining standards ideated by its founders that are followed and essentially ensure that the addition of members and the advancement of the organization. Organizations are meant to create order and stability among its populace, creating and maintaining standards ideated by its founders that are followed and essentially ensure that the addition of members and the advancement of the organization is in an ethical, progressive manner and in conformity with established and set normal values. It is also factual to say that organizations may be created with deceptive motives, but suffice to say, all organizations are born and strive with the best of intentions for the betterment of its members, and the PUA is no exception. From the beginning, the ideals and directions and purposefulness of an organization gives rise to the encouragement to join an aggregation of like-minded persons. The addition of members is the lifeblood of any organization, and the PUA is assured of this annual addition due to the urological institutions producing captured graduates. The clear direction and purpose of being gives our PUA the torch that all of us should strive to live by and to pass on to later generations of urologists. From the original 13 founders in 1957 to our present 431 members, with Metro Manila having 40% of the practicing urologists, our growth is a tribute to the realization that our specialty is coming of age, a specialty that is responsible for treating a myriad of urological conditions in all ages, in both sexes, with a wide range of armamentarium available only to a few specialties. And, pardon the term, our specialty is gainful. Likewise, the increase in the number of urologists is the attempt to populate our islands to serve the people. And we have seen that with almost all regions presently having at least one urologist in attendance. Only a few provinces and regions remain urologist-less, thanks to PUMP. However, with the increase in our membership, the burgeoning number may also be a liability unless we ensure that we maintain our bonds of collegiality, collaboration, camaraderie, and friendship over distance, time, and generations. For us, we have to thank the pioneering launch of the Philippine Urological Residents Association in August 1985 with Dr. Ronnie Ursua as the charter president. Establishing the PUA with him were Dr. Hines, Nonong Arada, Tony Anastasio, Henry Go, Bok Tablan, Jim Balingit, Tony Reyes, Glenn Maclang, and others who have made this first and important foundation for future PUA leaders. And guess where the first meeting was held? The Playboy Club in Ross Boulevard. Gave it to Ronnie to have it held there. But thanks to Ronnie, our ties of friendships begins even before our induction into the PUA. The PUA is the setting for forming lasting connections, getting to know each other. These are essential in making future alliances work. The PUA is a huge beneficiary of these initial yokes of brotherhood. Thanks to them. Thanks to Ronnie, thanks to Nong and company. The PUA and its members have also to contend with the need to establish more urological centers in the country in order to serve our Filipino brethren. This is in collaboration with the Philippine Board of Urology, of which we are members of and important in the formation of its board. Likewise, we have more subspecialty organizations and affiliations that bring diversity into the folds of PUA. And it is of utmost importance that we have persons in positions of power that see the bigger picture of what the PUA must become despite its size, diversity of its subspecialties, and in the affiliations she makes. Men whose interests are of the PUA, its greater good, and no other. As in all organizations that differentiate, the divergence of purpose and direction by its individual units makes collective goals less important. We have to understand that. But we have to ensure that we, as PUA members, as a mother organization, we should not lose sight of the PUA as the center and the mother that lives and protects her subunits. It is only by ensuring that by working together for the PUA, while considering the needs of its members and affiliated organizations, that we could grow and stand against any other external influence. Today, we have 14 urological training institutions that graduate around that about same number per year. And within 2 years, they become full-fledged members of the PUA. It is an inescapable fact that some institutions graduate more urologists. And over time, as a senior, junior urologist, I have seen partisan allegiances wreak havoc in some of our processes. We could not and should not become like Democrats and Republicans. And I am confident that the Filipino psyche in us will avoid that dismal abyss into which, if we fall into, will spell the downward spiral and stagnation of the PUA. And while it is a fact that the majority will carry the day, then it becomes the burden of responsibility and trustworthiness of the majority that the progress, success, and further ethical growth of the PUA will depend on. This is most essential to understand. Today, I will reiterate that our diversity is our greatest asset and our looming liability also. The different subspecializations of urology, it is easy to lose sight again of the larger scope of existence and concentrate on the microcosm of one's subspecialization. We need to remain united as close linkages begets strength. We need to foresee that more minds will give a million ideas, but only those that will serve the general purpose of keeping the PUA intact, afloat, and strong must flourish. The need to address changes had been predicted years past, that had been given light thought, but is now upon us, and happily we are coping and addressing them. Today, I believe these are issues critical to the PUA, and I believe that have to be addressed and confronted squarely. Number one, the equality of representation from each urological institution in the Executive Council of the PUA and in the composition of the PBU. This is essential to avoid any semblance of bias, to put it bluntly. All of us have to understand that the academic and skills quality levels of our trainees across all institutions have to be of consistent high-level standards. And this is also true for the evaluators as much as for those being evaluated. We have to ensure that this is equal for everybody. Number three, we need to understand that there are resources that could be tapped and that allowing access to more training for more residents fulfills the greater objective of our PUM. More urologists who are better trained for more areas to reach more Filipinos. Today, my colleagues, gentlemen, and ladies, we only need to realize and understand that we as members, we must work together and importantly, protect each other, cooperate with each other to see the larger vista, and in so doing, ensure that our PUA will never fall, never fail, and live on to its 100th year. This is a request, a plea, a prayer. Look around you. Remember your colleagues and friends. They will depend on you to be with them as you wake up in the morning to a next PUA day. To one and all, on the 64th year of the PUA, thank you very much and good afternoon.